The final bell echoed through the halls of Maplewood High, signaling the end of another school day. Students poured into the corridors, laughing, chatting, and eager to escape into the freedom of the afternoon. But in the midst of all the noise and movement, one student remained behind, his eyes wide with fear. His name was Noah, quiet, reserved, often lost in his own thoughts. But today felt different. Earlier, he had been working on a school project in the storeroom, a space cluttered with dusty old supplies and shelves stacked high with forgotten equipment. He had chosen to stay a little longer to wrap things up. It was supposed to be a quick task: grab the materials, tidy up, and head out. But just as he turned to leave, the door suddenly slammed shut behind him. It locked automatically. Whether from a malfunction or simple bad luck, he didn't know. At first, he laughed nervously. "No big deal," he muttered, reaching for the handle. He pushed, pulled, twisted, nothing. The door wouldn't budge. His heart started to race as the seriousness of the situation hit him. The room was windowless and dimly lit, and with each second that passed, it seemed to shrink around him. He could hear his own breathing grow shallow. He didn't have a cell phone. And worst of all, no one knew he was in there. The silence felt crushing. Time crawled. Minutes dragged into what felt like hours. Panic replaced fear. His hands shook as he banged on the door, calling out, his voice growing hoarse. But no one came. Just a few classrooms down the hall, Miss Harper, the school's science teacher, was packing up her things. She always stayed a little later than most, meticulously reviewing her lesson plans for the next day. But something didn't sit right with her. An uneasy feeling tugged at her gut. She glanced at the clock, surprised at how late it had gotten. Then she heard something faint, distant. A voice, muffled, like it was coming through a wall. Miss Harper's instincts flared. She dropped her bag and rushed into the hallway, following the sound. Her footsteps echoed through the empty corridor as she made her way toward the storeroom. The closer she got, the clearer the voice became. She stopped in front of the door. The muffled cries were unmistakable. "Is someone in there?" she called, concern lacing her voice. Inside, Noah recognized her voice instantly. He scrambled to his feet, pounding on the door with renewed desperation. "Miss Harper, I'm locked in. Please help." Without a second thought, Miss Harper grabbed the handle and yanked, but the door wouldn't move. Her pulse quickened. Noah was locked inside, alone, scared, and quickly unraveling. But Miss Harper was determined. She was the kind of teacher who never gave up on her students. "Hang on, Noah," she called out, then sprinted down the hall toward the faculty lounge in search of the spare key. Moments later, she returned, breathless, key in hand. Her fingers trembled as she slid it into the lock, praying it would work. Time felt slippery, like it was falling away from her grasp. She turned the key, and with a loud click, the door finally opened. Noah stumbled forward, collapsing into the doorway and gasping for air. His face was pale, his eyes wide, still gripped by the remnants of panic. Miss Harper caught him before he could fall, gently helping him to his feet. "You're safe now," she said softly, her voice calm and steady. Noah looked up at her, lips trembling. I thought I was going to die in there," he whispered, barely able to speak. Her heart ached seeing the fear etched on his face. She placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You're okay now, Noah. That's all that matters." She led him gently away from the storeroom, her arm wrapped protectively around his shoulders, guiding him back to the classroom. Everything that happened after felt like a blur. Miss Harper called the school nurse, who arrived quickly with a bottle of water and a calm presence. She stayed beside him, offering gentle words, trying to coax him out of the terrifying fog that still clung to him. Slowly, his breathing steadied. It was in that quiet moment that Miss Harper noticed something in his eyes. As he looked at her, there was no anger, no frustration, just a deep sense of gratitude and awe. Noah had always been the kind of student who kept to himself, rarely showing emotion. But now, there was a light in his eyes, one she hadn't seen before. "You saved my life," he whispered. Miss Harper smiled gently, touched by the sincerity in his voice. "That's what I'm here for," she replied. to make sure you're all right. That's what teachers do. But for Noah, it was more than that. She wasn't just a teacher to him anymore. She was someone who saw him, someone who truly cared. For so long, he had felt invisible. Just another quiet kid in a crowded school. But now he felt seen. And for the first time in what felt like forever, he wasn't scared anymore. As Miss Harper walked him to the nurse's office, she thought about how sometimes the smallest gestures, a key in a lock, a few comforting words, could leave the biggest impact. She hadn't just opened a door that day. She had reminded a young boy that he mattered. And that, more than any lesson plan or test score, was the most important thing of all. As the story closed, viewers were left with a message of hope and reflection. How often do we overlook the simple moments that might mean everything to someone else? Have you ever experienced an unexpected act of kindness that changed everything? Share your story in the comments below. And if this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to spread the power of kindness. Because even the smallest act can make the biggest difference.